Let's talk about an unknown manifestation secret and why discernment is key to unlocking your intuition and to successfully manifest. In this video, I'm going to share with you why being discerning, grounded, and seeing not by appearance, but in the spirit of our true self that helps us create with the universe, awaken our intuition, and how our logic, reason, mind is best friends with our spirit. This is something we don't talk about enough when we talk about manifestation. And that is how reason, logic, discernment is key to successfully manifesting. And even more importantly, using your intuition. Now, if you're wondering why I'm sharing these videos, because I recently just had a client, just the other day, a reading client, who was talking about how she'd been trying to successfully manifest a relationship. She was like, I've done affirmations, I've done a vision board, I've done every single different teeny tiny little thing. And I keep getting relationships, but I keep finding these same patterns that I'm feeling frustrated. Why am I not manifesting? And I was like, oh, I know exactly why. You're not using your discernment. You're not using your reason, logic, mind in service to your intuition where it's naturally supposed to go, but instead of using this hopeful self that often can blind us to what is in front of us and what is true. And it's not judgment. And before we go any further, hi, I'm Sonia. I'm a fourth generation intuitive, and I teach you how to plug back into your innate divine self. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe, that little bell notification, because I release new videos every week. If you're coming back, hey, hi, I'm so happy you're here. Yay, welcome back. And as always, I have a bunch of different workshops, offerings below. So definitely go to the description box and check them out. I have a podcast with my mom and my sister, online courses, past life email readings, all of it. Free tools. There's like a giant gift surprise for you waiting. So go check it out. All right, let's get back to my client in manifesting. So first, when we think about the process of manifestation, it isn't just a magical process that happens where we positively think and create a vision board and, we'll be guided. And no, it's an organized process. First, it is guided by your heart, which is connected to your spirit. In order to successfully manifest something, it has to be a true desire. Now, a true desire is something that sustains our energy and attention. If it's not, it's a wish. For example, we can even start there. A lot of times with my clients, they get disorganized. This is where our reason discernment can help. Where even just in the immediate, what's something that immediately would create a miracle in your life? Now, I had a client recently who was talking about how she wanted work and all these things and manifesting, was feeling frustrated. But when we use this practical reason tool of being discerning, she was like, actually what I want is community. That's very different from work. It's a very different thing in the immediate. So we actually sent her to some art classes, and that has created a radical shift in her energy. But when we're talking about discernment, first, there's our first part of your spirit that plants in a true desire, something that you actually truly want, and says everything in you says yes, let's go get it. That then informs our subconscious. Our subconscious is a yes machine. It just registers yes, 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 yes. And it is informed by our attention. Where are you placing your attention? That's why our attention of what you desire is so important. What are you focusing on? Because that's where we start to gather our information. Our intuition naturally works best in what we care about most. For example, my Nana was a seamstress, and every time she was very good at intuitively sewing, finding the right fabrics, finding the right thread, finding magic things that happened in her sewing world, because that was something that she absolutely loved to do. So for yourself, what are the areas in your life that naturally create and sustain your attention? Often too, worry. Where is worry showing up, and what would be the solution? That can also be a way that can unlock what your actual desire is instead of being focused on what's not working. So when we're coming back to discernment, so now we have our attention, right? We have our subconscious that says, yes, this is what I want to create, that puts everything into play. then that awakens our creative imagination. I am a creator. I can't wait to create this. This floods ourselves with just possibility, listening, wonder. This is where our intuition starts to kick in. Oh, I wonder what will happen. I wonder how things will show up. And this is where discernment and intellect becomes very important. When we use our intellect to be discerning, we don't see what we want to see. We see what is. And I find that often when we are creating, when we're trying to manifest, that hopeful, expectant part of us, which can be very magic, can also trick us. It can ignore 1 million different red flags with a work that you're pursuing or a relationship, like my client. There was a bunch of different red flags, but what she had wanted was a relationship so much that she really confused her reason mind and her intuition that was telling her this is a no-go as judgment. So when we're using discernment, pause. Am I seeing the whole picture? Not from appearance, from my eyes, but even from our spirit. Am I giving more credit than what is due? Am I going too fast? This is another thing with manifest. Sometimes we just get on a roll, we go too fast. We end up not paying attention to the signs, the symbols, the things. And so really this is about seeing clearly. Logic and discernment is grounded, organized. Am I seeing what I want or am I seeing what is? When we can let go of the fantasy and get grounded into the reality, then we can make choices in present time that allow us to navigate successfully on our path. It's an organizational piece. And it's not judgment, it's discernment. And it's a practice. Am I just seeing hopeful? Am I discounting my emotions, my intuition, myself by making excuses, overly explaining? And a simple way to even just start to practice this is first, can I see the whole picture? Right? Just like with my client. Pausing with the moments, can I see the entire picture? Are these red, yellow, or green flags? Right? Red flags, stop. Yellow, go slow. Green, go. And as we practice discernment as saying, like, I'm going to see the whole thing, what might I be missing? And like I said, not appearance, but from your spirit, will create a change in the conversation. And so a really simple way that you can even practice this is, one, feeding and taking care of your spirit. The more that you nurture your spirit, the more that you're able to listen to the guidance that it has. Simple tools I have all the time. Hand on your heart, hand on your belly. Take a few deep breaths. Connect inward. Let your consciousness go from here to here. Create a portal of listening. Be curious. And even way we can say is, my spirit says, fill in the blank, go fast. This is something my mom taught me all the time. Or even better, what is something that my intuition is saying that I'm ignoring? And am I available to listen? Because sometimes we don't want to listen. You know, it's even sometimes like your friend is telling you, you're like, wow, I don't want to hear it. So am I available for guidance? Am I available for that? Does this help me organize? How does it feel in my body? Right? Does it make sense? So the more that we can be discerning, the more that we can be in present, the more also that we can just see and accept people for exactly who they are with love and compassion instead of who we want them to be. And this applies to positions, relationships, anything that you want to create. And the more that we can see the full picture, the more that we can be compassionate, loving to all parts of them and ourselves, and then make choices centered in ourselves to successfully manifest what your desire is instead of a wish. Because that, when we don't discern, it ends up being wishes that can leave us stuck. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. And, as always, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. Hit subscribe, come to my workshop, come check me out. I have all sorts of things. I would love to hear from you. Follow me on Instagram, Sonia Tully Official. And I'm sending you all my love. I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.